I had the mic muted. I'm sorry. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? I know I'm all alone, but it feels right to say it anyway. It's just the way it is. I have to fake it until I make it. One day, hopefully, uh, people will start dribbling in at some point. I am Hair's on point today. Well, a bit too on point, actually. Maybe. We'll see. Can I live with it? Can I stop going this way? No, I cannot. Um, but man, I am. It's been 3 months. Here in Sweden, we have a rule where if you seek treatment, I need new headphones. Uh, if you seek treatment for an ailment, the most they can do, or the most they can delay your treatment, or not necessarily the treatment, but the being introduced to the first step of the treatment, so to say, is 3 months. That's the guarantee. If it goes more than 3 months, the municipality or the regional municipality, the region that I live in, has to pay for my treatment somewhere else. That's like the so I can go to a private physician or a private, hey, social lust, welcome. Can you test something for me? Can you try and post a link, a non-spicy link, just wikipedia.com or something. Just try and post it and see what happens. I think YouTube has made a change that makes linking in chat possible. And I want to try it. But yeah, in Sweden we have this rule where 3 months until you get to the next level of, or the next instance of treatment. And I am coming up on my 3 months. And I can feel it. I am this close to getting meds, but it's not close enough. See? I can see the link. Awesome. Finally, I saw a box I could tick which blocked linking. And I've also made you, because they've added a higher tier of moderation since last time I streamed. I don't remember exactly what the name was. Yeah, so we have standard moderators and managing moderators. So, yeah, right. They finally come to the same. They're coming to the same level as Twitch. Finally, it's about damn time. So yeah, I've made you I made you a managing moderator, and basically you can moderate what words are acceptable in stream and stuff. And you can change chat mode apparently. So yeah, it's just some nice to have things. But yeah, okay, sir, absurd. But yeah, I attempted. So this weekend, after streaming this weekend, I spent all of Sunday just staring. That's like my main thing I do at the moment. I just stare at the screen. I have YouTube in the background, and I do nothing. Like literally nothing. I've spent probably 2 hours programming, something like that. It's Man, I need the meds. I need the meds real bad, and I can't wait for it. Once I get... I am looking forward to my first stream on meds. I tell you that. Yeah, ADHD meds. I am gonna get those drugs. I'm gonna become a junkie. Legally. Government subsidized junkie even. I'm part of a Reddit, a subreddit. You made a funny edit? Okay. Wait, why? I don't want to... Oh my god. Let me... I have to go this way, apparently. Because it opens up in... Why? It opens up in the OBS window I have. Idiotically. Open link in new tab then. Why is it... Copy link address? Goes to... This is weird. There seems to be... Okay, let me show you. I have the link here. If I press it, however, you can see the link is studio.youtube.com. But it's not studio.youtube.com here. So that's interesting. So if I remove... Yeah. Idiots. Thank you.
You should have acted. They're already here. The Elder Scrolls told of their return. Their defeat was merely a delay. Till the time after Oblivion opened. When the Sons of Skyrim would spill their own blood. But no one wanted to believe they even existed. And when the truth finally dawned, comes in fire. But there's one they fear. In their tongue, he's Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
I love the Mud Wizard. He's a goofy goober for sure. Yeah. No, it's a good... I'm not really into Oblivion. I'm not really into Skyrim overall. It's... Okay, let's... I'm gonna try and find... It's a closer look. Is that the name?
Marv?
Yes. Skyrim. This is a Shut up. This is a 30-minute video. We're not going to watch all of it, but there is a... I was missing. There's a salient point being made here that I think is important, that I've been thinking about myself prior to this video, but never could put in words. I'm sure I tried playing it. I've played a few hours of it. It's just so grinding. But this point I couldn't make with my own words. This is
Skyrim back in 2013
a good video.
Was getting familiar with the magic systems. I couldn't put my finger on it at the time, but I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what or why, but when I used the magic in that game and sent fire at a bandit in one direction and swung my magic sword at a mutated spider in the other, I never enjoyed it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved playing the game, and I wouldn't have completed 4 whole playthroughs if I didn't adore it, but it was specifically the magic systems in that game that set me on edge. So much so that in all of my various playthroughs...
So he goes through the whole magic system, and he basically says there is a disconnect between the magic abilities, and the world. If you can conjure up a sword, and it's really easy to do that, like anyone can learn that spell at a low level, why would you ever need to buy a sword if everyone can learn it? And there was more. He goes into economics and how the economic system doesn't work really if you can just grind yourself to $1 million. It's made me think a lot about my own world buildings in the games I make. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really stupid that you can do that. And then for a section, I mean, if anyone can do that, if you're ever jailed, okay, I can still have my weapons. It is phenomenally stupid to have someone be able to conjure up a weapon at will easily. It's one thing if it's a high level skill, because that's gonna make not everyone can reach that level. But if it's a low level skill, then it's world breaking. And he likens it to Death Stranding. I haven't played it, but bear with me. Where the rain makes everything age rapidly. And there's a distillery that uses that method to age their barrels, to age their whiskey. Which, yeah, of course, if you can age things rapidly, of course you're going to use it to make things better as well. It's just a way to use the world's logic consistently, which Oblivion absolutely doesn't. It's a turn your brain off type game. I can get that. I have issues turning my brain off. That's the whole problem with me. That's why I need the meds. Dude, this is my issue. But I'm looking forward to the first day of streaming with meds. It's gonna be interesting. I'm planning on streaming the day I get my meds, just to be able to record the first instance, you know? Let's do something fun.
This video is...
It all makes sense, yeah. I want to see. I don't know who Robert Tolpe is, but he has 107.
Hi, I'm Robert Tolpe.
7K subscribers. I think he's left wing. But he's he looks like the nerd you'd flush down the toilet, you know? Why black women aren't stealing gay culture? Yeah, but he had a video I enjoyed. I'm not OCD. I don't think I have any OCD really. I might have some. I nothing clinical at least. I don't have autism. I don't have anxiety even. I'm just I just have my ADHD, inattentiveness, to be specific. Different types of ADHD. I saw a graph. Is it? Nope. I saw a graph of what the different types of ADHD actually means for people. And my type matched perfectly. Nope. Nope. Let's see here if this will load. I guess it won't. Can I? Thank you. So I am inattentive. Has difficulty organizing and finishing tasks. Yeah. Difficulty following detailed instructions and conversations. Easily distracted. Has difficulty remembering details. Oh yeah. I can have a conversation with someone. 5 minutes go by and they ask me, what's the conversation? What were we talking about? And I say, this dude was crazy. I mean, seriously, and I'm just blank. Like, I remember the conversation being intensely crazy, but I can't remember why specifically. Makes careless mistakes and often lose things. When I was a kid, I can't tell you how many keys I've lost. I've lost so many keys. It is embarrassing. Even as a kid, it's embarrassing. I used to commute on a train to go to high school. I've lost numerous bags on that train. They are in Denmark, those bags, or they were at least. They're probably incinerated. I lost a bag containing my used gym clothes. That shit, I hope, got incinerated. You're inattentive or both. Symptoms of the other two types are equally present in the person. Oh, people with combined type of ADHD demonstrate symptoms of both inattentive and hyperactivity. This is the most common type of ADHD. Okay. Well, I'm thankfully just inattentive. Maybe wait. My may fidget and talk out. I do fidget. I always have a pen because I always sit like this. Like this is my fidgeting. You restless legs. I do have some of that. Like you can see me turning my chair at times. I can bounce my leg at times, but never when I sleep. I don't. It's more when I need to focus, or not need to, but when I want to focus. I can do some bouncing just to keep myself from being inattentive. Feels restless, may struggle with impulsivity. Of course, I struggle with impulsivity as well. May interrupt a lot, speak at inappropriate times, and difficult waiting their turn. Yeah, but I'm not bouncy. And I feel like that's a key component to why I am inattentive rather than hyperactive. I feel like if I can sit still, even with tasks, I just I can sit in this chair for hours without leaving. And I feel like that breaks hyperactiveness or hyperactivity. I feel like that's a core component to it, at least. Can daydream a lot? Yeah, that's me. Can look like they are not listening? That's me. Can use many reminders to avoid forgetting stuff. And I still forget stuff. Can talk a lot and very fast. Sure. Hyperactive can be mental. Okay. Can be mental. Can have a need to move and always be on the go. This is not so much me, but my mental hyperactiveness. Yeah, maybe. but I'm primarily inattentive, I'd say. At least primarily. But yeah, this is not a stream about my ADHD. That's not what this was supposed to be. In adults, is there another thing then? No, seems to be the same things. I want to talk about Robert Tolpe. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I enjoyed Wednesday very much. I didn't know if I would. I had my issues with some characters, but the overall series was very good in my opinion. It had good characters. I liked Wednesday in it. I know some people are what do you call it? They are Puritans. Wednesday needs to be like she's always been. She can't be a detective. Why not? Wednesday as a budding detective sounds awesome. She's very smart. She's always been very, very, very smart. She doesn't really care about people. She is a psychopath. And I still think they managed to bring that up in the series. She was still a psychopath in the series, despite making friends. But even psychos have friends. I'm reminded of a doctor who was studying psychopathy, and they had 20 people with psychopathy, and then 20 people as a control group, and they made mental scans and stuff. And they had to do tests beforehand, and he included his staff and himself and stuff like that. And then when they went through the control group's papers or the tests, he's like, ha ha ha, who included a psychopath in this? It was himself. He was a psychopath. And when he told his wife, she went, I can see that. I can understand that. It's psychopaths aren't always murderous. Answers questions? I am horrible at spelling, apparently. Here, Jubilee.
Can I know that you're being honest with me, and did you lie to any of us?
I don't think I've lied to anybody. I guess I could be lying.
You ever felt guilt?
That's a complicated question.
What age were you diagnosed?
I think I was around 21, 22.
How old are you?
I am 33.
What's your definition of a sociopath?
I have no idea, Socialist. I haven't done any of that myself. But apparently I have. I don't know. I haven't touched that. I haven't looked at that even.
A sociopath to me is someone who has... Well,
I want to see...
I don't think control, and I didn't an actual reason. My first clue...
They talk about his son, I know. Let's see here.
Waking up in prison was probably my first clue.
Do you mind me asking what led you to go to prison?
I've committed several crimes. I was using drugs and selling to support my habit. I also have many, retail thefts.
How long ago did you?
I do experience emotions and love and...
Here we go.
For me that often, deep as other people. So the emotional tie to memories that makes them stick in your brain doesn't really happen for me that often.
Did you tell your parents about your diagnosis right away?
No, actually I didn't. I've only actually mentioned it to my parents one time. When I told them, they didn't believe me. They're like, that's not the Greg I knew. And I guess it just speaks to how fooled I had them. They just didn't believe that I was capable of those things.
Have you ever been in love? And do you feel love?
I think so. I do experience emotions and love and connection and closeness. It's just maybe not to the depth or breadth of some other people.
Who would you say is your favorite person?
So Wednesday can still be a psychopath, despite making friends, and this is going to be spoilers, I assume, hugging her friend at the end, okay? They can still make friends. So I'm saying this because I don't know what he's going to talk about. I don't know why Wednesday's disturbing right-wing loner subtext, why that's the title, but I have my assumptions. What is Wednesday? What is Wednesday? Wednesday is a day. What are you talking about? No, shut up. We can't. Today's day. Is it Wednesday? It is Wednesday. Oh my, we're talking about Wednesday on Wednesday. No, we're talking about the show Wednesday. A good show, a great show. Watch it. Anyway, let's see what Robert Tolpe has to say.
Sponsor is Ren. Learn how you can...
I don't care.
Hi, I'm Robert Tolpe, and today we're talking about...
I'm sorry, but he's just so flushable. I'm sure he's heard this before. I'm sure it's annoying for him to hear it again if he ever hears this or watches this. But God damn it, was he stuffed in lockers growing up. God damn it.
Wednesday, the hit Netflix series that has broken the internet with its soaring popularity. While the show was entertaining, I couldn't help but notice some decisions that made me raise my eyebrow on more than one occasion while watching it. So let's talk about that.
I mean, okay. Oh my God. Okay, this gives me hope. This gives me hope that I can reach 100,000 subscribers. I've never understood bullies better than I do listening to this guy. I've never understood bullies better than just experiencing this guy. Whew. But I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it.
Shall we? And while I assume everyone has watched the show already, I have to warn you that there are some spoilers ahead. Wednesday is yet another show about high schoolers doing high schooler things in high school, except the students in this show are no ordinary students. They're outcasts who go to a special academy called Nevermore. Wednesday Addams and her outcast peers must learn to live in a world filled with normies, the word the show uses to identify regular humans with no supernatural abilities. While this not like other kids framing for a teen series is not unusual, the use of the word normie to describe
that audio, that crispiness, can you hear it?
Teen series is not unusual.
I'm hearing it in my left earbud, not earpiece, headphone, on my left side of the headphone.
The use of the word not like other kids framing for a teen series is not unusual.
Oh,
the use
it grates on me. I hate it.
So the word normie to describe regular people is. Usually we get a made-up word like muggle or something like that to label ordinary people in these kinds of fictional worlds. But normie is very much a real word, although you probably don't use it much unless you're a far-right teen.
I saw this. Now I remember. Now I remember why I wanted to watch this. I saw this. Normie. A normie is a slang for a normal person, especially someone seen to have controversial mainstream conventional mainstream tastes, interests, viewpoints, etc. It is intended as an insult, but often used ironically. I don't have headphones on, it's less annoying. Okay. But you can hear it at least. You can hear it. Norm is also sometimes used specifically in groups to refer and distinguish themselves from specific outgroups. This has nothing to do with being right-wing. I use the word normie to refer to people. I have friends who use the word normie to refer to... Why is he labeling this as a right-wing word? I've never heard someone do that before. Let's see if we can find... It's just someone with mainstream views. It's someone not familiar with specific subcultures Is normie a right-wing word? Normcore? Normcore. Origin. It is easy to see that normie derives from the English adjective normal. Yes. But normies are used in more specific contexts in the 80s and early 90s. Among these instances are examples of use of the word by people with disabilities to refer to those without it. People with disabilities. You have headphones? Oh, sorry. I read that. I assumed you said I have earbuds for some reason. Never mind me. Yeah, it was used by people with disabilities first. There are also examples of use from people in recovery circles in reference to those who are not in recovery. Normcore, but the word has lately flatted out and is now occasionally embraced as a term of ironic self-mockery. Yeah, there's nowhere the alt-right explained in its own word. Is derogatory image board slang for safe mainstream people, presumably the exact sort who haven't embraced the movement. I mean, technically, but that doesn't make it right-wing. Okay, let's move on. He's wrong on the first point. Let's just accept that.
On a message board filled with radical conservatives, in which case normie is likely part of your day-to-day vocabulary. On far-right meme pages, normie is the word used to describe people who haven't been radicalized yet. But why would Netflix writers use such a politically charged word to serve a mundane purpose in their TV show? I imagine the word just worked in the script. It fit into their world so perfectly that they didn't give it a second thought. And they never stopped to question why the word would suit a show like Wednesday. I don't think they ever connected the dots between the story of Wednesday Addams, a homicidal loner with antisocial tendencies, to the stories of homicidal antisocial loners in the real world. Wednesday arrives at Nevermore because she really doesn't fit into her old high school. She was a loner, and members of her family were bullied by the popular kids there. If you didn't notice, that kind of fits the stereotypical profile of a student who might be a threat to other students. And this is stereotypically speaking. But Wednesday isn't like that. She wouldn't bring something she's not supposed to school to take revenge on the...
Wait, sorry.
Didn't notice that kind of fits the stereotypical become Wednesday Addams, a homicidal loner with antisocial tendencies, to the stories of homicidal antisocial loners in the real world. Wednesday arrives at Nevermore because she really doesn't fit into her old high school. She was a loner, and members of her family were bullied by the popular kids there. If you didn't notice...
So I just want to make one more point on the normie question. Tim Burton, the producer of the show, is he also the director? Executive producer. He has produced Edward Scissorhands in the early 90s. I wonder if Tim Burton, with his eclectic tastes, maybe has an affinity for the disabled, an affinity for their culture, a understanding of them. He has probably embraced their culture to some extent. Maybe. And maybe, just maybe, that's where he got the word normie from. Just maybe. That's why normie is part of the show. What should we call them? I'm the executive producer. Let's call them normies. It's good. Fine. Yeah.
That kind of fits the stereotypical profile of a student who might be a threat to other students.
It's
and this
Wednesday.
Is stereotypically speaking. But Wednesday isn't like that. She wouldn't bring something she's not supposed to school to take revenge on the... anything else to get revenge on those students. Instead of being, I don't know, thrown in jail, Wednesday Addams is whisked away to a special school for outcasts like herself. Nevermore Academy is a fanciful place where sirens, werewolves, and other mythical beings join together to learn in harmony. But while it goes deep into the family lives of these supernatural identities, it doesn't really mention the characters' races or ethnicities at all. Instead, the writers use this cheesy outcast-normie dynamic as a proxy for real-life social issues. The outcasts have been historically oppressed by normies in the town of Jericho, where the story takes place. This history of oppression is a central conflict of the series, where Wednesday has to cope with the town's dark.
Okay, I'm feeling an unstructured point here, like from him. It feels like he wants to jump to different places all over at the same time, instead of like for me, for most people, a good argument is point conclusion. You structure it. You say this is a right wing loner subtext. Why? We have X, we have Y, and therefore Z. This feels like he's saying we have X, which is, I can understand being a part of the school shooter, which is what he's trying to imply here, but he never says it. He never explicitly says she is equivalent to a school shooter, but they make it campy and therefore fun and therefore acceptable. Well, violence sometimes is acceptable in the right context. For example, January 6th, lunatics, deranged lunatics, everyone who participated in that, and everyone who defends it, and everyone who is still defending it and is elected politicians should be thrown in jail for treason. However, if what they said were true, they had proof of it, yeah, I would probably agree with them. If I were there, I would probably join in. If what they said was true. Sorry, but they don't. He doesn't make this distinction, which I feel should probably be made.
Past, when pilgrims sought to eradicate all the outcasts in the colonies. The show makes misguided references to the Salem witch trials, whose perpetrators weren't exactly pilgrims. It was later on in history, and no one was burned at the stake in the colonies. That didn't happen. But this is a fictional TV show. I don't want to pick apart historical inaccuracies all day. But I do have issues with how they essentially rewrite history. Indigenous people probably face the most mistreatment at the hands of the colonists in North America. But despite this being a central part of that time period in history, this really isn't addressed. Some have pointed out that the show does recognize contemporary oppression of Indigenous people. So I definitely feel in the process of creating this whole oppression background for the outcasts, they erased the actual story of how Native Americans were oppressed by colonists here in North America. I do like that they made...
But it's a story about witch trials. Like, I understand what he's saying about the pilgrims not doing it. Yeah, you should probably... I would have preferred it not be pilgrims, that it be more historically accurate. But it serves the point of setting up why they exist, why they are... not why they exist, why they are where they are, why the conclusion is what it is, why everything leads up to the point that it leads up to. It serves the series. I don't feel like it erases anything. It just doesn't focus on it.
the villain of the story a pilgrim, however, because pilgrims are so idolized thoroughly in American history. I feel like it's about time that we have a comically evil portrayal of a pilgrim. Before I continue the video, I'd like to...
Wait, does he backtrack?
Colonists here in North America. I do like that they of creating this whole oppression background for the outcasts. They erased the actual story of how Native Americans were oppressed by colonists here in North America. I do like that they made the villain of the story a pilgrim, however, because pilgrims are so idolized thoroughly in American history. I feel like it's about time that we have a comically evil portrayal of a pilgrim. Before I continue climate crisis by offsetting the emissions gives you tips. Ren helps you rainforest protect monthly.
I do not care.
That. One of the coolest Scotland ears.co. The link in the description will have 10 to establish that the real oppressed people. Back to what I was saying, the show rewrites history to establish that the real oppressed people in this universe are the outcasts, apparently. Outcasts, including Wednesday.
Do they? They're saying they are part of the oppressed people. They're not saying they are the true oppressed people. I don't remember those words being said. I don't remember that context ever being said or being portrayed. They're just saying that they are oppressed. This would be like making a school, a disabled school. A school for the disabled, and not a disabled school. The school doesn't have a wheelchair that it wheels around in or hops on stilts or something. You know, crutches. That's not what we're talking about here. A school for the disabled, and it's about how the disabled are oppressed. And this guy goes, "Oh, so they're saying the disabled people are the real oppressed people." No, they're saying they are one of the oppressed people. That is an aspect of their character that society oppresses in some fashion.
Wednesday. But beyond evil undead pilgrims and bigoted families seeking to eradicate outcasts, they don't seem to be the most downtrodden group of people. Socioeconomically speaking, they go to a giant, well-funded private school. And Wednesday lives in a mansion. Sure, many of the students do face prejudice from the people in Jericho, but that may be because they have a tendency to vandalize property and one of them might be eating people for breakfast? I don't know. Look, I don't want to invalidate the fictional oppression of outcasts, but the show's idea of what oppression is a very 5th grade level understanding of it. People in this world are either blatantly evil bigots or they're completely colorblind, with very little in between, and it's individuals in the show that are framed as being the issue, the reason why the outcasts are oppressed, and not some kind of system.
Maybe? Maybe. I feel like he made a disservice in the beginning of the video by labeling normie a right-wing word, which is just stupid. Because, yeah, he has a point here that the outcasts seem to be part of issues in the series, for sure. Yeah, he has a point here. Sure.
The series villainizes a few bad apples that are framed as the root of all the problems in the town, in a way that makes things easy to solve and wrap up at the end of the series, you know? Just vanquish the bad people and your problems are gone. As for the...
But the problems aren't gone? And, okay, let's... massive spoilers for everyone. There is... The mayor is part of the problem. And I feel like that's like systemic critique, isn't it? Saying that the mayor, the former sheriff turned mayor, may have, or actually did, suppress the truth. So I feel like that's a systemic critique. He didn't do it as an individual. He did it as part of the system, as part of a sheriff.
The oppression Wednesday Addams personally faces, she is ostracized by her normie peers. But not necessarily because she's an outcast. It's probably because she's kind of a sociopath. She will casually try to harm you, ignore your feelings, and use you. And I don't believe people distancing themselves from her is necessarily a form of prejudice. To offset Wednesday's...
Well, Wednesday doesn't care. She doesn't mind being alone. She doesn't mind not having friends. What she does mind is people bullying others. That's her whole ethos. I don't like bullies. I don't care about myself. I could be murdered for all I care. But I don't like bullies. And I will take vengeance on bullies.
Questionable character traits. They make her seem rather socially conscious and progressive in a pessimistic sort of way. She seems to understand misogyny and the oppression of indigenous people, and is overall well-educated and intelligent. Part of the success of every series is the likability of its protagonists, and the writers of the show Wednesday certainly try to make Wednesday as likable as possible. But should we like Wednesday? Maybe not, but we do root for her when we're watching the show, even when her actions should probably be condemned. As some have said, I feel like the glam makes it really hard for the character Wednesday to exist in the same way she did in the original show. While Wednesday is still herself, the show just isn't wacky enough to contain her. I guess the order from the Netflix executives was to take no creative risks at all, especially when developing her surroundings. The main setting of the show, Nevermore, a school for outcasts that you're...
Okay, so again, this guy, he has one point that I agree with, that, or maybe 2 points. Wednesday Addams is to this show what a school shooter is to reality. Fair enough. I can agree with that. I don't care. And the other point is the outcasts of the school are kind of horrible at times to normies. But then he throws in these kinds of things. Normies being a right-wing word, and what did he say?
Executives was to take no creative risks.
No creative risks with the surroundings. I don't know. I felt like, I don't know if it's creative risks, but I don't feel like they held back either. I feel like they created the show they wanted to create. What would Wednesday look as a child detective at a school for outcasts, at a school for mythical figures that are contained from the broader society out of safety for broader society, pretty much. You know, that's what I feel like we're dealing with the school. I don't know if it's Netflix going, don't be too creative now.
At all, especially when developing her surroundings. The main setting of the show, Nevermore, a school for outcasts that you're supposed to go to if you don't fit in with the normies, should be wacky as all get up, but everything about it is no different from a usual private school. As YouTuber Mina Lee points out, half of the school's activities, for instance, are just regular school activities with a gothic aesthetic sprinkled over it. Like the episode with the Poe Cup, which is just a relay race with an Edgar Allan Poe theme. As for the students themselves, besides having special abilities, there's nothing really unusual about them. Besides Wednesday, she's supposed to go there because she is supposed to fit in more there. She is supposed to belong there. But she doesn't fit in there any more than she did in her other school.
Yes, she does. And also, if the studio made one point, it's make it like Harry Potter. Make you have an idea for Wednesday. She's a child detective at a private school. Fair enough. That sounds good. We like it. No notes. One note. Make it like Harry Potter. That's the one critique I would have of the show. It's too Harry Potter-esque. Like the Poe Cup is Was it Goblet of Fire? Is that the name? It's not the is it Goblet of Fire, where he has all these trials that he has to go through. But yeah, that's pretty much my feelings.
An outcast even among outcasts. So what's the point of her being there? Her transition to Nevermore is just a change in scenery as opposed to an important part of the plot. I feel it was simply more convenient for the show to limit Wednesday's contact with the real world, as the nature of the show would require them to do a lot of explaining about how she avoids getting in legal trouble for her behavior. The need to explain her behavior is such a limiting factor even in the show's more permissive surrounding. Nothing can just be a quick gag. If she releases 2 bags of piranhas into the swimming pool at her high school, there has to be a motive for it, and more importantly, it has to be explained why this was the correct course of action that Wednesday should have taken, and why we should support her in doing so. Perhaps her behavior is simply because she's a troubled teen, and something deep within her psyche compelled her to do it. Don't worry, some court-ordered therapy sessions will solve that. We don't have a piranha control crisis in this country. We have a mental health crisis, remember? I feel like choices were made when...
What? Did he like it? Does he think, can you buy piranhas just like that? Buy That's not good. Can I just buy a piranha? Apparently I can. But I don't feel like yeah, exactly. Due to she's a sociopath. Like he said, she is absolutely a sociopath. Her using piranhas against her brother's bully, who is part of the swim team, it fits the theme of the Addams Family. This is so he wants her to be psychotic, but he wants it to be more whimsy, I guess, which worked in the 60s. I do not know how it would work today. And I do not feel like anyone watching this is going to take away the message he thinks they are, of school shooters are just troubled kids with no issues. That's what I feel like his message, the message he thinks people take away from this show is. And I couldn't disagree more.
Some court-ordered therapy sessions will solve that. We don't have a piranha control crisis in this country. We have a mental health crisis, remember? I feel like choices were made when incorporating Dr. Kimbot in the show. This had the potential to either medicalize Wednesday's behavior, explaining away her actions, which are just supposed to be a simple dark joke, with a long list of diagnoses. That would be lame and problematic. So instead, the show demonstrates that Wednesday doesn't actually need therapy somehow, and she's special in her own magical way, which I feel is somehow worse. There is a danger in having an effective therapist in a TV show, promising to cure your main character of the qualities that make them funny and unique, but the way the show approaches the topic of mental health care is not ideal. Though the show has many problems and is overhyped, it was fun to watch and definitely wasn't.
I don't think it was some weeks ago that, or even months at this point. No. Was it? Never mind. It was over a month ago, at least, when I watched the show. So I could be wrong, but I don't feel like they were trying to... What's the word he said?
Therapist in a TV show, promising to cure
her? I don't remember them using those words. I could be wrong. I could be. but I don't remember. I feel like they're more a good therapist with a known sociopath. That's the key issue here. If they're unknown, they can use therapy to be more, to become more effective at manipulating people. But I feel like a known sociopath getting court ordered is gonna be helped by maintaining their, or not maintaining, by understanding their own condition, you know? I don't know. It's I don't remember them saying they would cure her.
For your main character of the qualities that make them funny and unique, but the way the show approaches the topic of mental health care is not ideal. Though the show has many problems and is overhyped, it was fun to watch and definitely wasn't bad, but it certainly wasn't stellar either. And I don't know if I read too much into it, but the troubled teen subtext with the dark elements of the show, when removed from the campy environment of the original show and the comics, make for a disjointed viewing experience. Anyways, I'm Robert Tolpe, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Maybe.
Yeah, I couldn't. I disagree a lot with this guy about his prescription of the show as a right-wing loner subtext. It's more. I feel like they try to make her more benevolent, a benevolent sociopath who used their sociopathy and their prevalence for violence for good things. That's what I took from this. Like, she has no qualms about hurting people. She doesn't care. She could murder someone and have a good night's sleep and wonder why people are upset. But she doesn't. She uses the violence she is prone to help those who are bullied. She doesn't murder. She doesn't want to murder people, but she will if she has to. That's the message I took from it. And I'm fine with that message. Violence isn't always bad. There are times where violence is absolutely necessary. And at those times, we need these types of people. Well, not these types of people per se, but people willing to use violence to win. War comes to mind. Ukraine comes to mind. Now, I'm not saying Wednesday is Ukraine embodied, but I'm saying that sometimes violence is necessary, and I can see that message being, or that being the message of the show more so than right-wing loner subtext, you know? They're not alt-right for using the word normie, which just tainted the whole video. I want to see here. Wait a minute.
This video sponsor is...
What are people saying? In Monsters High Ghouls Rule, they use the word for anyone that's not a monster, pretty much in the exact same way as they do in the Wednesday. I can't say I agree with the word. Say agree that this word has a strong far-right connotation to it. Plus, Ghouls Rule is a super anti-cop and racism movie. Okay, you make me want to rewatch it. The animation, the entire series of Monster High has been doing it way before the word itself became popular or associated with right-wingers. Outside of the online sphere, you're absolutely right about the word, but online you won't find anyone using it more than the weirdos that lurk on 4chan. What are you talking about? if it has right-wing connotations now, it's only because the right adopted the term after it was already being used by some niche communities. I've heard goths, furries, emos, and others all use the word normie to describe those outside of their community. Yeah. Saying normie is far-right teen vernacular is such a reach. I know tons of people use normie to refer to people you can't reference a single meme because they won't catch it. Yeah. If you find someone who doesn't understand memes, yeah, that they are normies, IMO. We secretly admire those people whose brains haven't turned into mush thanks to the internet. No, I don't. Fuck you, Julie G. I don't know why you were so confident at that point. I was thinking this too. Hassan Parker uses the term a lot to include the word Normans. And he's defo a lefty, yeah. Internet culture to use normie, that it is. Exactly, normie is very commonly used to refer to people who aren't tied into pop nerd culture. Normies are pretty much people who don't obsess about fandoms. Why is it... Wait. No. I refuse to accept the notion that normie is a politically charged word. Don't be that guy. Seems like his audience agrees with me on that point at least. And that's good. That's good. I like that he got some pushback there.
This video's sponsor is Ren. I do not want to
listen to that again. I want to see...
Hi,
what else does he say? What else does he have here? The rise of sad beige aesthetic. Your mother's not a narcissist. You're just sexist. Okay, the homophobic gay romance film. What were we thinking? YouTube parodies were worse than you remember. I've always hated YouTube parodies. Okay, I want to see this. Why black women aren't stealing
I'm Robert Tolby, and today
gay culture. Why aren't they stealing gay culture, Robert Tolby?
I'm talking about what gay culture is and
nerd.
Isn't. Much of what
Are you stealing nerd culture? Is that a thing? You got the glasses. It is. I feel like he's leaning into the nerd aesthetic with this one. It's very nerdy.
We would call gay culture is just black culture rebranded. And because members of the LGBTQ community are divided along lines of race and socioeconomic status, wealthy, non-black queer people really can't take credit for much of the language and fashion used by black queer folks. But that doesn't stop them from trying. Now, I don't want to start any drama, but many non-black LGBT and Q folks have been using the fact that they're part of the community.
Young Ben Shapiro. Is there an image of him with glasses? I don't know. I was hoping to find some with him with glasses. Oh my god. I love this image. I love it. But that's not Ben Shapiro. That's our pal Elon. I'm a fuck with Musk. But he does sound like Ben Shapiro in this interview.
Yes.
Took your Fox books after Willie Pratt, TV Ben.
And thanks so much for having me.
And I guess one has to think about things we've laughed at, but you, Gary Marshall.
Nor is Gary Marshall. I certainly don't say that all of them are Jewish. There's, of course, a lot of Jews in Hollywood, but that's because there are a lot of Jews at the top of it.
Why did I mute?
Black culture. Start any drama, but many non-black LGBT.
Remember Team Pool was talking to Sam Cedar about Thanos and yeah. Oh my god, the right-wing analogies are amazing. And they always return to Marvel and Thanos, and then they hate them. They fucking hate those movies. They hate woke culture. But yet, they're using Thanos as a talking point. I do not understand it. Are they secretly woke? What is going on?
And Q folks have been using the fact that they're part of the community to justify their appropriation of black culture. So let's talk about that, shall we? Nikita Dragon, you're probably watching this right now because you're subscribed to this channel. Let's have a talk.
What a fucking call out. That's a Chad move, to be honest. Well, that's a Chad move. You there. You there. This is for you.
Not going to drag you. Twitter has more than handled that already. I just want to dismantle some misconceptions that you and many others have about LGBTQ or gay culture. I'm going to try to speak from my personal experience with gay culture and try to put into words what makes people so uncomfortable when a privileged person like myself does the kinds of things you did this week. So, what did you do this
Thank
week?
you. I was just going to ask that.
For those of you who haven't heard, Nikita Dragon released a new song, and the
Was
marketing
Nikki
campaign...
the Dragon. Nikki the Dragon? Is this her? Dragoon? Nikita Dragoon? When was this? 1 year ago. 3 years. 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. 1 year. 1 year. My 4th nose job surgery. Oh, damn. Okay. Okay.
Pain for it was, I'm gonna be honest,
we all had his haircut when we were 5.
disastrous. It began with starting
your mom putting a bowl on your head. Cut, 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 cut.
Rumors about various men who have allegedly been with her, and culminated in these 2 story posts with profanity covering the faces of trans icons who have
Nikita Dragoon. Yeah, Nikita Dragoon.
Passed away. And somewhere in between, she told black rapper Asian Doll that cis women like her get inspiration for their fashion and culture from trans women. In response to this, she got a DM saying that it was in fact black women that gave trans women and gay people culture. She replied, no, black trans women and black gay people gave the culture. The post set people off. Twitter was flooded with tweets claiming Nikita Dragon said that black women did not influence gay culture and that all black women appropriate their style from gay people. But we both read her post. That's not exactly what she said. In fact, taken at face value, what she said rings true, that black trans women and black gay people created gay culture. So what was so problematic about that statement in context? The problem is, she's implying that because she is trans, in all caps, and part of the gay community, she lays claim to this culture created by black, trans, and gay people, and she deserves credit for the work of her trans sisters when cis women copy her. Not only is this false, but as I will explain, the idea that gay and trans people have a shared and unified culture extricable from black culture, in my opinion, is incorrect. But why? I propose that the idea of a unified gay culture belonging to everyone in the community is flawed, because there is no unified gay community. This is not to say that there was never unity amongst queer people, because at one point there was. For a long period of time, gay people were concentrated in certain neighborhoods and only went to certain stores, clubs, and bars. Historically, there were entire districts of underprivileged gay people from all walks of life who found unity in living together in these places. In his book, There Goes the Gayborhood, Amin Ghaziani, associate professor of sociology at the University of British Columbia, argues that as time went on, these neighborhoods began to get...
Okay, I'm bored. I don't care. Cultural appropriation is fucking stupid. It is stupid. Cultural appropriation, my God, this face. Cultural appropriation might be the worst word, apart from white privilege, to come out of academia. It is not that it has no purpose. It is not that it has no meaning. It's that the meaning is misused so fucking much. I remember Dreads. Dreads is a perfect example of cultural appropriation. This has been part of Swedish culture for a long, long time. Let's see. This has been so prevalent in Swedish culture that it's basically part of Swedish culture for ages. Sure, we had a time where we didn't have dreads because that was discouraged by society. It's still somewhat discouraged by society, don't get me wrong, but this is a former Swedish she was minister, a former Swedish minister, minister of culture. She had this hair. We have Loop Troop. That's some Viking shit. That's for sure it is. He is a famed Swedish rapper. And when I say famed, I mean in Sweden. Loop Troop. This is his hair. He has the shit dread. I like this a lot more. But you can see the little Viking symbolic rings in her hair as well. People have called this cultural appropriation. Just because they wear the hairdo. Let's disconnect it from the Vikings entirely. Let's say Vikings never had that, despite every culture in history having it. Like, there's not a culture in history that never had dreads. Why? Because human hair, if you just let it go, it's gonna turn to shits. It's gonna turn to this. And rather than having it turn to this, they started to form it into the locks. Okay? But let's say that never happened. There was only African culture. And let's not mind that every culture and every race, every people around the world has originated from Africa. Let's just ignore all that. It's ancient history. Fine. And what's the issue? I understand if society equally, or not equally, disproportionately discourages black people from having dreads when it's more prevalent in their societies. Jamaica comes to mind. I can understand that aspect. I understand when Kim Kardashian has curly hair, a perm, and they go, oh my God, she's so innovative. Yeah, fuck you. I understand that aspect. But someone just having it, I do not understand. That is not cultural appropriation. It doesn't even have to be associated with that culture. Runes. If you see, or Viking helmets with horns, which never happened, that is not cultural appropriation. Because they don't claim it as theirs in the same way as Kim Kardashian gets ascribed as innovative with their hair. The Vikings, the NFL teams, isn't culturally appropriating Viking culture. It is just using Viking iconography. There is a stark difference. And yes, I understand if anyone's watching this and they feel differently. I understand there's a difference also between a subculture being appropriated by mainstream culture, because a subculture can feel like they are not taken advantage of, but being minimized. They're being made invisible. I understand that feeling. I have felt that feeling a lot of times. I was a nerd in school. I'm still a fucking nerd. Nerd culture at the moment is mainstream culture. I used to bitch about that. I hated it. I fucking hated it so much. But I don't anymore. Because I've realized by allowing my culture to ascend to mainstream culture, I get more that I enjoy. Take the I feel like there's a difference between how you handle rap versus how you handled rock. Both were black culture creations. They both came from the black culture. And there was in blues, there's a tradition to borrow other people's riffs. Like a riff wasn't yours. You might have come up with a riff, but other musicians, other players, other guitarists would copy the same riff, the specific wordings or stuff like that. You know, there was, and you can find those riffs in Led Zeppelin music. Let's see here, Polyphonic. If you're interested in music at all, Polyphonic is probably the best channel you can watch. He has almost 1 million subscribers. He is well deserving of that. And he talked about this in a video about Led Zeppelin. Here we go. And cultural appropriation. This is a perfect video where he describes how they took those riffs, which were passed along different guitarists for ages. They took them and they incorporated it in their own music because they saw themselves as part of this conversation that they were having. You take the riff, you change it up a little bit, you make it your own, you know, and stuff like that. They saw themselves as part of that conversation. The mistake they did was copyright. That's where it all broke down. That's why Led Zeppelin culturally appropriated. Because they said, this is now mine. They didn't allow other guitarists or other musicians to riff on it. Rap, however, and the culture that created the blues culture had very little power, very little ability to protect itself. Along comes rap. And I don't know why, but it's allowed to grow I think the reason why, just from the top of my dome, one of the reasons at least why, is probably because of every rapper's need to be unique. Every rapper's need to be, or not unique, but original. Not copy other rappers versus you might copy words here and there, like Pinocchio for a silencer. Stuff like that. They use euphemisms very much in order to be able to rap. And those euphemisms can be borrowed. But the structure of your rap has to be original. Or have some semblance of originality. You have to showcase that you are actually a rapper. You're not just a hired mouthpiece. That's important. And I think that's why when white rappers came into the game, they weren't used to that level of scrutiny. So they didn't make it original. They had writers. They had very simple forms of rhymes compared to the black underground or the black subculture. And that meant the rappers could shield themselves from the overall industry in a way that kept it as black culture. White people have a very hard time breaking through into rap, into the rap game. You have to display a lot of originality, a lot of ability to write good raps in order to be taken seriously for anyone, but doubly so for white people, probably because of the history of rock music being co-opted by white people. I feel like there's a difference in that, where rock music culturally appropriated it by copywriting what had been done before and saying, this is now mine, and stifling the black part of the culture. While as rap music wasn't able to do that. You needed someone like Eminem who, whatever your ideas of him are, you cannot deny him being a world-class rapper. No matter your thoughts on him otherwise. And that's why he's accepted. But even he accepts that he had help by being white. That had helped him. Where am I going? I feel like I'm rambling a bit here. But I feel like I made my point. There's a difference. As long as you don't claim it as your own, you can't call it cultural appropriation. Eminem never claimed rap music as his invention. Had he done so, he would have been ostracized for sure by the overall culture, by his peers. And that showed other white rappers how they could make money, or how they could succeed, I should say, within that culture. Not separate from it, within it, as part of it. So going back to hair, going back to dreadlocks, it can't be cultural appropriation if every culture has had it at some point. There might have been a cutoff from it, but that's that's due to us being culturally, that's due to us having a cultural genocide in Europe. Christianity created a cultural hegemony by appropriating our culture. We celebrate Christmas here in Sweden on 24th because that's why Vikings had a celebration then. We celebrate, and I've talked about this before, Lucia. We're a Protestant nation, and we celebrate an obscure Catholic, what's it called? Helgon. Saint. Goddamn. We celebrate an obscure Catholic saint because she died on the same day that we used to have a different celebration. All of this is just cultural genocide. And us reclaiming that, us making some form of reclamation of our older culture is not cultural appropriation. I love M. Yeah, he's talked about privilege. Yeah, almost all the time. I feel like he can't stop talking about his privilege. It's annoying at some point. But yeah, so I don't know. It's talking about cultural appropriation when you're talking about different cultures just lending from each other is really stupid. It is self-defeating. Because what you want to do is keep your culture yours. No culture works that way. You can't use chili beans because those are Mexican. Sorry, they taste good. I'm sorry. Go fuck yourself. Oh, you can't use a tunic because that's Asian culture. Go fuck yourself. Who cares? Nobody cares. Actually, nobody actually cares. They're just being protective, overly so. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna have to say about this. I could ramble on for ages, but I'm just going in circles at this point. Oh, you don't want this as your what do you call it? Respectful mourning of black culture or black people? Really? They thought this was a good idea. They actually brainstormed this and thought, that's what we're gonna do. Kneeling alone would have been enough. Hey, Blaze. Kneeling alone would have been more than enough. But no! They have to use... Oh my god. And that's so embarrassing. But I feel her. I'm not gonna lie. I feel her. I'm 35 and I can start to feel how hard it is to get up from the ground. Oof. I was made aware that was for George Floyd, yet they did nothing wrong. Yeah, they did nothing wrong. The only thing wrong they did was being goofy. It looks goofy. Just kneel. Why did you have to have the African pattern on yourself? And when I say, here's the real cultural appropriation. Calling something African. That's cultural appropriation. Which African culture? There are hundreds, if not thousands, of African cultures. None are the other alike. There is more cultural diversity in Africa than the rest of the world. That's how deep their cultures go. Because that's where that's where humanity and culture was first formed. They should have passed policies, yeah. If they had kneeled, skipped the cloth, skipped the pattern, and they only kneeled and then said, we're introducing the George Floyd Act, which does X, Y, Z to address ABC issue. Perfect. No notes. Go forth. Great. But what they did was just virtue signaling. Literally. That's all they did. I heard Matt Walsh went to visit a homophobic tribe and said, "Yep, everyone agrees worldwide." Of course he did. Did he also go to the Australian tribe where boys have to give blowjobs to their elders in order to become men? Did he go there and say, "Yep, everyone agrees worldwide. More blowjobs for the old"? I don't think. I think you can yeah, probably. I think you can cherry pick any society or societies anywhere in the world, and you'll find people who agree with you. But we're becoming. Sorry. Also part of my ADHD. I'm always tired, constantly tired. I feel like due to globalization, due to global media, the internet, stuff like that, we're going to have subcultures, but there's going to be more homogenous cultures until we populate Mars, because the time it takes to travel between these two places, just with signals alone, is going to mean that they're going to have their own internet. There's going to be websites, message boards probably, where there's going to be overlap because you don't need instant feedback from a message board. You don't have to. Waiting 8 minutes for someone to answer is fine on a message board. Waiting 8 minutes for or is it 30 minutes even? However long it is for a video to start to stream to you is not acceptable. So there's going to be cultural differences between Mars and Earth just based on that. But prior to that, Earth is going to have a homogeneous mainstream culture in the future. That's inevitable. And this is what Gordon Kahl is fighting against. This is a lengthy post, but I felt it's important to go through. It's not that old. In Ohio, there was apparently a Nazi homeschool group that taught their kids to love Hitler. And I don't know about you, but Hitler did some bad things. Now, granted, we've had people popping up lately being pro-Hitler for some reason. I feel like if they really thought about it, they wouldn't be pro-Hitler. I don't know, maybe. But apparently this guy, this lard of a person. I mean, you can see the fat fold under his beard. Thought, I'm gonna be the savior of white people. Let's read. In our last installment, we exposed a network of neo-Nazi homeschoolers. Wait, in our last installment. Oh my God, there's a whole... Oh, there's so much. There's so much. That is a... I don't think Hitler foresaw that future. This article is updated. Okay. Let's skip this installment where they discover it. And I don't. I want to read the new installment, okay? Sorry. When was the last installment? It was... It's so much. It is so fucking much. We're just going to read the new one. We exposed a network of neo-Nazi homeschoolers called the Dissident Homeschool, led by Upper Sandusky, Ohio couple Logan. Upper Sandusky, okay. Is the place called Upper Sandusky? Upper Sandusky. It's a place called Upper Sandusky. I'm guessing like North Carolina. Near Cleveland and Columbus. And Detroit. Okay, so just straight down in the center here. Rural Ohio. Upper Sandusky, Ohio couple Logan and Katja Lawrence, who used the aliases Mr. and Mrs. Saxon. The Lawrences were good friends with Gordon Kahl, host of the neo-Nazi podcast Achtung Amerikaner, and leader of the network of neo-Nazi podcasts under that umbrella. In fact, a significant portion of the information that led to the identity of Logan and Katja Lawrence was gleaned from their guest appearances on the Achtung Amerikaner podcast. Since the Saxons got exposed, we thought that old Gordon might be feeling a little left out on all the fun. Far be it from the anonymous comrades collective, fuck you for using that word, to deny a Nazi... Okay, no, okay, sorry. I thought this AC collective. Okay, this is them. Good on them for using that word, sorry. To deny a Nazi a chance to be exposed. That's great. I like that. They're thinking of his ego, and they want to cherish the ego. Today we introduce you to Riggin Lynn Shear of Brookings, South Dakota, otherwise known as Gordon Kahl of Achtung Amerikaner. The neo-Nazi coordinator, Gordon Kahl. Gordon Kahl is the pseudonym for the administration of Amerikaner.org, a website that serves as the home for the podcast Achtung Amerikaner, as well as a number of other podcasts popular with the white supremacists like Full House, German spelling of house, the Godcast, Hate House, and the Eagle's Nest. Subtle, very subtle, among others. While facilitating coordination between various neo-Nazi groups across regions, Gordon Kahl has been quietly building a rival platform for the largest network of white nationalist podcasts, The Right Stuff, led by Michael Pienovich, aka Mike Enoch. Pienovich. I remember this guy. Michael Enoch. Why is he familiar? Why am I... Doxing incident. Leaked identity of several of its key contributors, including Enoch, and revealed that his wife was Jew. That's why. This is the Jewish fucker. Oh, that's so funny. Right. Oh. I remember. I don't need this. Why am I having this? Though still the largest of the neo-Nazi podcasting network, TRS has of late been experiencing attrition due to the allegation of secret Jewish heritage and to the fact Pianovich and TRS have been seen by other white nationalists as using their platform to milk cash from the listeners and from members of the affiliated National Justice Party, which Pianovich also runs. As such, TRS and NJP have alienated huge segments of their movement, which is fine by us, perfectly fine. I have no qualms with them alienating themselves. We love to see Nazis not play nice amongst themselves. The most recent scuff-up in this Nazi soap opera has been the revelation that neo-Nazi small press Antelope Hill Publishing, which we have reported on numerous times, have been exploiting their employees while at the same time earning big bucks, enough to purchase a luxurious $750,000 house in Harleysville, Pennsylvania, to use as their headquarters. I want to see this house. Is this the house? Okay, that's the house. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. This is 750,000? Really? I'm assuming the property extends beyond the house. But this does not feel like a 700. And why is it only one floor when it could have easily been... Okay, it is 2 floors. So this is just that part, I guess, then. I don't know. This doesn't feel like 750,000. But that's just me. I'd rather live in a city than in rural Pennsylvania. Further fueling the critics, Antelope Hill Publishing's editor-in-chief, Sarah Kuchera, wife of the boss Vincent Kuchera. Why is Kuchera so familiar? Vincent Kuchera. I'm guessing just... I don't know. I feel like this is a famous name for some reason. Has been accused of having, gasp, Jewish ancestry. Gordon Call has expressed his criticism of this alleged Jewish ancestry, invoking the one-drop rule, as in 1 drop of Jewish blood makes one Jewish, declaring himself staunchly in opposition to the National Justice Party and the Antelope Hill Publishing. Antelope Hill has a Jew handling their customers' data and money. They try to fuck over a white man, white being capitalized. Rusty and a few others try to stop them, and when Rusty is such an American hillbilly name, isn't it? And when Rusty revealed the fact that Maggie at Antelope Hill was a Jew, NJP issued a burn notice on him and anyone associated with him, including myself. Antelope Hill tried to fuck over a Bundy guy. We objected to that. Everything flowed from that. Gordon Call. In addition to this NJP leadership, apparently he has decided to tell people in their networks, or at least some of them, that I groom people and cannot be trusted. They're all groomers. Every single one of them is a groomer. This just the pot calling the kettle black? So Amerikaner and the Bund are on the same page here. I only speak for myself. My views don't necessarily affect the views of people who post to my site. Far as I'm concerned, however, Antelope Hill and NJP can get fucked. Gordon Call was at one time, however, affiliated with TRS NJP, being a lifeguard at their pool parties. Pool party is code for small local gatherings that require vetting. I see the code words of its participants to prevent infiltration. And lifeguards is code for organizers of these get-togethers. Of course, they guard people from blah, 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 yeah. Yeah, those code words are dumb, but bear with us. But this past summer, Gordon Call was fired by TRS leaders, stripped of his responsibility in the midst of a TRS money grab, which brings us to his current situation. If Mike Hill has to address it publicly, it's probably a huge deal internally, said Nate Hill, while Gordon Call says, well, from what I understand, they've lost multiple pool parties in just the last few months. To be fair, a lot of that was due to the shift into mandatory dues payments. They didn't have mandatory dues? So in theory, losing a group who gives no money doesn't really mean much, especially since a good chunk probably still do the paywall. But with something like this, I would imagine it's a big fracture. I hear bits and pieces and it sounds like a big mess. Take care, Social Lust. I'll see you next stream. Prior to this, to his humiliating demotion, Gordon Call was a key regional figure responsible for vetting Nazis for inclusion in several different organizations, besides TRS NJP like the Manor Bun and Patriot Front, calling himself Gordon Call after a real life far-right extremist and murderer. Who the fuck? Okay. When was he born? 1983 he died. Okay. He's mentioned several times by pseudonyms in the leaked Patriot Front International Communications provided by Unicorn Riot as the go-to guy in the Dakotas. Unicorn Riot. Why is this familiar? Is that the same people that did the expose of the infiltrator that went to January 6th? I can't remember his name, but he's a big media, or was a big media figure at least. Maybe that's them. Maybe. In one incident, a newly recruited member of the violent neo-Nazi psycho organization Patriot Front was perhaps just a little too psycho and violent and was scaring his Nazi associates. Gordon was called in to fix the problem. Okay. Yeah, we want psychos. Not that psycho, but we want psychos. Cecil, okay, me either. I've contacted Gordon. He seems to have an influence on him. Gordon, I know for a fact several NJP leaders have my face, name, and address. I look forward to inevitably getting fed knock or something, or some other tomfoolery. I need to check if South Dakota has castle doctrine or not. You know, as a prank in Minecraft. He's threatening to shoot cops. He's saying, come knock at my door, cops, and I'm going to shoot you, and it's going to be fun. I don't think that works that way, and you're just going to get yourself killed. Do not shoot back at cops. Pro tip. Ajax, who even is Gordon? Esben. He used to be our Dakotas guy. He created a second stringer podcast site years ago, and now he basically puts anti-NJP guys on there as a specialty because unity or something. But Gordon Call's main labor of love is his long-running podcast, Achtung Amerikaner. A recent episode hosted members of the Ku Klux Klan. The episode description read, Gordon sits down for an interview with representatives of the Old Glory Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, including Brett Roberts, the Grand Dragon of Texas. So fucking goofy. This reminds me. Bundy Ranch had a good time. That's true. That is true. That's a point for the right-wingers being able to shoot at cops. That's true. And he is a right-winger, so sure. I'm sorry. You're right. The Ku Klux Klan was humiliated because of Superman. This was... they had a radio play of Superman that kids just loved to tune in. Everyone tuned into him because Superman was and somewhat still is seen as an all-American type of character. You know, he embodies American spirit and ideals. The ideals and spirit that America never lives up to, by the way. He embodies those. So good old white boys put their sons and daughters in front of Superman, in front of the radio when Superman was on, because that's their perception of themselves. And of course, the radio show got wind of this. I don't know who it was, but someone told them to have Superman clown on the Ku Klux Klan. And they did, and it was so effective that the Ku Klux Klan all but disappeared. The kids would make fun of the white robes because Superman made fun of the white robes, of the goofy Grand Dragon. What are Dungeons and Dragons role players? Anyway, I just like that tidbit of history. As well as Brother Kenny and Sister Rita, who two Imperials or national representatives. Okay. The conversation varied from the history of the Klan to the current goals of the organization. And I don't think they mentioned Superman winning over them. And their frustration in dealing with more modern iterations of the white identitarian movement. In the episode, Gordon Call said he hoped some attempt can be made to broaden cooperation between the different ideological tribes of our people. This is in keeping with his big tent approach to white nationalism, with which he hoped to unite various regional groups who are often wrapped up in internecine strife? Internecine? Internecine, really. Internecine strife. Wait, what does it mean? Destructive both sides of the conflict, okay. As such, he has platformed a wide variety of white nationalist guests, like the rabid anti-Semite and failed political candidate Patrick Little, longtime neo-Nazi Billy Roper, and violent Iowa-based neo-Nazi group Crew 319. Gordon Call, KJ, just remember that getting drunk and moshing to RAC isn't a, I'm guessing, patriotic something. CEO of racism, okay. I've hosted potlucks for our people with 30 or 40 attendees, being able to put together a tithe? Tithe. 1/10 of annual produce or earnings. To get a tithe of the people attending the event of a national organization with millions of listeners is, well, I'm not terribly concerned at this point about not backing them anymore if that's the yardstick. Americana. Just got done making my second iteration of the beer cheese soup. A beer cheese soup? I'm going to take to the potluck on February. Had it with the local guys at our weekly meeting. But jalapeno... Bitch, we talked about cultural appropriation earlier. If there's someone who can't use jalapenos It's the fucking Ku Klux Klan. It's the fucking white nationalists. It's the Nazis. They are forbidden from using it. But jalapenos and red peppers in this time. If you want to get the potluck, hit me up, Eastern South Dakota, February 10th to 12th. It's just a cute gathering of people, you know, sharing recipes with one another and just having a... Are they going to have a sewing circle soon? I want to see them go there. I want to see them knit something, a sweater. A swastika sweater. That's what I want to see them knit. I'm planning on doing... This is Gordon. I'm planning on doing something at least every other month. And they'll all be announced. They'll all... Wait, who said it? Americana. And this is Gordon. They'll all be within South Dakota just because it's my backyard. But if anyone else wants to organize something or wants my help to do it, I'd be willing to travel instead. Burn notice, Gordon call. Alexander, don't they operate mainly out of Michigan? Gordon, I'm down. Got a lot of traveling to try to do this year, though. Want to visit Ozarkia and talk to Billy Roper. Gonna try my best to make it to Exofest. Exofest. There's a Juneteenth Black Hills trip. And I'd like to try to visit Ray Zest, the North's boys too. What is Exofest? Is it just a car festival? The Ozark? You know that? I've never heard of that. $19.85. Oh. Want to visit Ozarkia and talk to Billy Roper. A genus of North American leptonetides? I'm guessing it's something. The Ozarks is a region. The Ozarks. Okay, and we're over here somewhere? Here. We're over here. And you want to travel down here. Okay. But I think it's probably something that's related to, at least, this. Since they are Ozark Mountain compound. Feels connected. Still Gordon call. I'm gonna work to interview as many different groups as possible this year and try to work out some sort of relationship with them. I think it'd be a good way to avoid the same pitfall. Will have its own problems. Interpersonal strife is the main one, I think. But maybe we can get something rolling even if it doesn't go anywhere anytime soon. It's a camping area. I get it. And camping is inherently a Nazi activity. It's just, that's in the Bible. Apparently, Gordon Call makes some pretty decent money from donations to his website and podcast. In one Telegram post, he claimed that his website basically pays for itself with some amount left over that he saves. He stated that he wanted to work as much overtime as possible in order to create a racist HQ. Thankfully, people have been very generous to this, and the site now basically pays for itself, and we're at $20 or so left over each month that I've been socking away. I'm thinking I might just work as much overtime as possible for the next couple of years to accelerate my plans for Racism HQ. Call the Racism HQ. We have a black person inbound. And then go whole hog on becoming as much of an irritating WN activist as possible. White nationalist, of course. White nationalist activist as possible that the system tries to assassinate me. These guys are such fucking LARPers. It'll be pretty cool to have that on my resume. Having assassination attempts is like a badge of honor for them. They are so fucking LARPy. Besides the talk about organizing and coordinating with various other neo-Nazi groups, Gordon Call's Telegram chat discussion is full of the standard racist garbage that is the norm for these Telegram chats. The Vietnamese, at least the ones I've met, are fine enough people. Had one as a roommate and he was very orderly. And therefore, all Vietnamese are very orderly. I mean, I don't want them here, but make me pick between Hmong and Vietnamese. Easy choice. Easy. Just call them all. I could rally against being able to say the N-word when I describe something, when I read something, or when I talk about the word itself. I find it counter to any movement when there's a word you can't say. I can say gook, but I can't say the N-word. And apparently I can't talk about I can't talk about Ritz either. I can't use that word either. Because apparently white people mad. I don't know. But yeah, it's extremely stupid not to be able to say the word when I read the word. Extremely stupid. I hate it. Only reason I cared about the difference was because I was working customer service. This dude was working customer service. And was able to tell who would be worse to deal with in advance. Oof. I want to see this. Hold it right there, boys. Now, I know the vermin deserves hanging, but that's for the law to decide, not you boys. You ought to be ashamed. Well, okay. But this is the last time, dang it. I mean, this is a critique on the racism of the old, and he's just using it for more racism. Finding himself in the midst of the Nazi drama between himself, the goose-stepping goons in his Telegram chat, and the Antelope Hill Publishing, TRS, and more acronyms gang mentioned earlier has cost him no small amount of personal stress. This was compounded by the fact it was not lost on Gordon Call that his own podcast was instrumental in the exposure of his good friends Logan and Katja Lawrence, aka the dissident homeschoolers, whom we exposed in our last piece. Gordon felt badly about this, since they spoke so freely about themselves on his Actung Amerikaner podcast. It looks like the info came from stuff they said on my show that got linked to stuff they posted on Facebook. God damn it! God damn it! These uppity New Yorkers gonna come here and talk about and gonna expose me for saying shit. These uppity New Yorkers. Huh. We felt it was time to pull the plug on this Nazi shit show and put Gordon Call to a merciful end. It was time. Goodbye, Gordon Call. Hello, Riggin Lynn Shear of Brookings, South Dakota. Such a white name, Riggin Lynn Shear. Gordon Call, like most Nazi dimwits, screwed up. And all it took was a careful look at the history of a now suspended Twitter account he once operated. When the account was suspended by Twitter, it was using the Twitter handle @CallGordon. However, previously, this same account had used the handle Dakota Thash and Big Rig Shear. Big Rig Shear. Moron. Verifiable by viewing the unique identification number of the account. And he said, the leader learned elders of Cyclone issue a final warning in the most censored podcast on the dissident right. At one point, the levels of Fed posting become abstract. What? Big Rig Shear. Reclaim the Earth. White nationalists from South Dakota. And the Black Sun. Is that a Fash holding up the tree? Interesting. Gordon Call may have wished to hide his true identity by Riggin Lynn Shear, born April 11th, 1993 of Brooklyn, South Dakota, wasn't exactly hiding from the internet. We let our fingers do the walking and persuade a South Dakotan phone directory, easily finding this uncommon name. I bet they did. 100% European without even taking those tests. I have a questionable last name, unfortunately. Wanted to have some kind of proof if I ever needed it. Damn kike stealing good German names. Oh my god. This is the savior of the white race. This dude. Savior of the white race. Sure thing, buddy. We're halfway there. As indicated by Riggin Shear's online profiles and on numerous tabletop role-playing games. No! He is a role player. Oh my god, that's why he's so fond of the KKK. Websites under his real name, he was an enthusiast of Dungeons and Dragons and the like. Shear was such an enthusiast that he wrote his own homebrew racist RPG under the pseudonym Gordon Call, entitled Rahowa? The Meme Wars. I'm choking on the sheer cringe of this name. And posted to the document sharing website Scribd. Riggin Shear. Idiot. From a page of the RPG written by Gordon Call. Is he racist though? Are we sure he's racist? It could just be a coincidence. A little quinkydink. I mean, we can't know for sure, right? He just wants white people to be with other white people. That doesn't make him racist, does it? Rahowa is a commonly used term by white supremacists meaning racial holy war. Okay, I didn't know that. Here is the premise of the game as stated by the author. Whites are a minority living in a hellscape of diversity and gay shit. Just gay shit. We've passed piss Earth. We shot past septic Earth. We're in radioactive AIDS Earth. Jews run the world in the open. Their hordes of colored slaves hunt the few remaining Aryans like Morlocks hunted Eloi. And many whites serve willingly as slaves to their Semitic overlords. Like, we can't know for sure that he's racist, right? We don't know that. The players are part of an Aryan warband. Why? I want to play as the as the overlords. Why would I want to play as the Aryan Warband? A band of brothers who have decided it is time to make a valiant stand against the forces of darkness. Maybe he's racist. Just maybe. With honor, strength of arms, and maybe some luck, they might finally get their chance to stop this madness once and for all. In this RPG, the protagonists of the game battle against enemies like Negroids, Beaners, Thai Ladyboys, Shitlibs of course, and Zogbots. One enemy, the Giga Enrime, has a special ability to chimp out and deal extra damage point to the player in gameplay combat. But for this neo-Nazi D&D Dummkopf, which means idiot, no amount of successful saving throws or +5 Vorpal swords will save Rigging Shear from being exposed. This so-called RPG is credited to Gordon Call, but the metadata in the PDF file, is he a PDF file? Clearly tagged Rigging Shear as the document author. Oh no! You fucking moron. Keep oppressing them. If they gain control, they'll do retribution. Yeah. Besides, which, if you ever saw it, Professor Flower is absolutely in favor of. There are people advocating retributory solutions to oppression, which is self-defeating, if anything. Besides designing really offensive or cringy racist role-playing games, Riggin Shear has also been known to pen lurid erotic anime fanfiction. Of course he has. Give me a moment. Can I... There's no images. There's no images. Good. Fenrir7139 here. This started as a gift fic for a guy who goes by the name of Is he writing for other people? It's Naruto. Naruto sighed as he sat on the examination table, feeling strange in the hospital gown he'd been given. I hate blue. Why couldn't it have come in orange? You know, because Naruto wears orange. Wait, we need a Naruto. We need to see Naruto to understand the depravity of this. Why couldn't it have come in orange? And I just got back from the trip with the Erosanen. And what do? Hug me. Say they're glad I'm back? No, they say, go to the hospital and get your physical, Naruto. The jerks. Suddenly, the door opened and Naruto looked up at Shitsune, Medicnin. Medicnin? I am not a anime-brained moron. I'm not a dweeb is the word I'm looking for. Is this common parlance in anime? Medicnin? Really? And assistant to Tsunade, the Godaim Hokage, walked into the room. Hello, Naruto-kun. Ready for your physical? Naruto nodded slightly, feeling a bit nervous. Jiraiya had teased him about this non-stop. Naruto had never had anyone, much less a beautiful woman like Chitsune, touch him there. This is really bad fanfic. Just relax. You're Naruto Uzumaki, future Hokage. This won't make you lose your cool. This won't make you lose your cool. Wait, can we get a Anime nurse. Oh, I can't. This could be. Let's see here. What is he? Okay, this is perfect. This is what he's envisioning. We have the two protagonists of this story. Okay. This won't make you lose your cool. Chitsune looked at him questioningly. Naruto-kun, something wrong? Naruto snapped out of his internal conversation. What? No, nothing's wrong, Chitsune-kun. Chitsune-san, Chan. Chitsune smiled at Naruto reassuringly. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. There's nothing to be nervous or embarrassed about. I may not look like it, but I'm a professional, you know? She winked at the blonde, good-natured, causing Naruto to relax a little. All right, Chitsune-chan. Chitsune-chan, I feel a lot better now. The medic nin smiled. Good. Now then, first, I need to take your temperature. Open your mouth, please. Naruto did as she asked, and Chitsune placed a thermometer under his tongue. Hold it in your mouth until it beeps, okay, Naruto-kun? Naruto simply nodded again. All right, now, where did those guys that worked the night shift put those supplies? The medic bent over to look for something, her backside perfectly outlined by her black kimono, causing a tent in Naruto's hospital gown to rise, which he swiftly covered up with his hands. Kuso, damn it, Naruto. Do not let Jiraiya perverted ways rub off on you. She's Chitsune-chan. She's not interested in you. She'll probably be pissed if she sees that. Soon, Chitsune found what she's been looking for and turned back to Naruto just as the thermometer beeped. Oh, good, you're done. Let's see how your temperature is. Naruto was glad that his problem had gone away after she'd stood up. That quickly? Okay, dude. She pulled the thermometer from his mouth. 101.4 degrees. Usually I'd say you have a fever, but that's your normal temperature, right? Because of your condition. Naruto nodded. Yes, it is, Chitsune-chan. What do we do next? Chitsune smiled. Now, I need to check your blood pressure. Just relax your arm, okay? Naruto nodded, letting his arm go limp as he strapped the Velcro strip to his arm, pumping it until his blood pressure was displayed on the electric screen. All right, your blood pressure is almost perfect, given or taking a couple of numbers. You're quite healthy, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled, rubbing the back of his head. Thanks, Chitsune-chan. I knew it. That Iro-sanin was lying to me. This isn't that bad. Oh my god, how long until the sexy parts? Let's just jump forward. The fox gave me some of this chakra as well as his knowledge. You'd be surprised what a 9,000-year-old demon can learn in its lifetime. Chitsune's breathing quickened. She could feel the raw power of an animalistic lust radiating from him, washing over her like a wave. Really? Like what? Naruto grinned. Naruto's grin widened. Like this. You can see how the roles are reversed now. Now he's in power. Okay. More than this and I'm gonna cringe to death probably. Oh, they actually... the blonde hesitated for another moment, but finally conceded, pulling off his orange underwear, leaving his member in full view. Chitsune struggled with trying not to drool. To drool! She's a professional, guys. His member is just that big and massive and impressive. Kami-sama, He must be 9 inches, maybe more. And it's so thick. I definitely made the right decision. Naruto blushed as he felt himself hardened under Shitsune's gaze. Gomen Chitsume-chan? Chitsume gave him a reassuring smile, careful not to show even the smallest hint of glee. She already felt moistness between her leg, and her nipples stained against the fabric of her kimono. It's okay, Naruto-kun. It's just a natural reaction. I've dealt with this kind of things many times before. None of them are as big as you, but... Oh, you can hear Riggin Sheer masturbating as he's writing this, you know? With his, like, 2-inch dick, just imagining him reaming the anime girl. It's hard to imagine that Riggin Sheer, aka Gordon Call, has a very developed view of romantic relationships. Yes, it is. It is very hard to imagine that. Though, since he described himself as a guy who was fairly low standards when it comes to women and has no success with them, what a fucking surprise. He was absolutely correct. However, when he wrote that he has low standards when it comes to women, he was absolutely correct, however, when he wrote that he has low standards when it comes to women. Writing on Twitter, he called the Pikeville, Kentucky neo-Nazi Audrey Skeens his ideal waifu. What is it with Nazis and anime? I do not get that connection at all. Yeah, I read the article. I delayed gratification and put effort into it. I delayed gratification. He's talking about masturbation. I delayed gratification. I waited with masturbating. I waited with masturbating till I got home, okay? That's just the type of guy I am. That's a fair argument that I don't have an answer for. As a guy who has fairly low standards when it comes to women and has no success with them, it's hard for me to tell guys with higher standards and no success they should lower theirs. Okay, what way? I would say that it likely has to do with interpersonal communication at that point. If you're a physical fit guy with a good job and whatnot and have no success, it might be due to miscommunication with women. When I've been explicitly matchmaked or whatever, I have no issue just getting into a relationship, but have never had success cold approaching or using apps. I would imagine courtship is a skill that must be learned for some men, and I haven't learned it. What a fucking surprise that a neo-Nazi hasn't learned courtship in the modern age. This is literally my ideal waifu. Again, savior of the white race. Begin Sheer, looking for a place by the first week of October. I have a dog. I would like 2 bedrooms, but we'll settle for 1. Sorry. Kind of cutting it close to the wire, I know, but I got scammed with the last place I tried to get, so now I'm in a bind. Can't afford up to $1,000 a month in rent. Please let me know if you know of anything. Most of the apartments in town are not open until at least November. At this point, I may even just try to buy a trailer or something if I can find one. Oh, he looks much better in a mustache than he is the servant of, rather than the full beard. It is few men who can sport a mustache and not look like complete morons. And I gotta have to give it to the Nazi. He can at least sport a mustache. Oh, oof. Senior year with Riggin Sheer. Hello everyone, it's your favorite senior Riggin. Lots to speak of this month. The senior play Campfires Burning went quite well. I play a bumbling forest ranger, and my minions and I strive to keep order in the insanity that is our forest. We deal with squatters, protesters, and even angry wildlife. But not all is as it seems in this Sylvan Wonderland, and our lovable park rangers are in for a wild ride. See, the joke was the wild part. It's a pun! So funny. So funny. Sheer racism. Good pun. Riggin Shear may portray himself as an Chuck Mr. Nice Guy kind of demeanor, but his effort at organizing and uniting various neo-Nazi groups presents a clear danger to communities all over. While he attempts to curry favors with those groups and strengthen his own Amerikaner network, the outcome of the strife between them, the National Justice Party, and related groups is yet to be determined. One thing, however, is certain. Gordon Call won't be doing this work. Just 29-year-old Riggin Shear of Brooklyns, South Dakota. They really want to hammer Brooklyns, South Dakota. Riggin Shear, Brooklyns, South Dakota. I don't blame them, but I really want to hammer it down. Nick, I almost said it. God damn it. I live. They just spring it on you. Want to bet? I really like them, but they really seem to hold whatever. I live in a little apartment and do mind-numbing make work. I live in a little apartment and do mind-numbing make work 12 hours a day and sometimes say interesting things on the internet. We're both just people. I guarantee if we lived in the same part of the same state, no doubt edict from some internet capo would prevent us from hanging out. I am honestly telling you not to. I don't allow this online stuff to affect my IRL local friendships. You shouldn't either. You can be friends with people even if they do some things you think was distasteful, and I don't have any issue with them at all. Anime characters look white, I guess, but they're also not white. I mean, she could be white, except for the eyes and the hair, I guess. She's white. Tell them that. Yeah, I know. I'm just. They call them gooks to their face sometimes, and then they fap over their anime. It's really, really strange. And there's no way that this dude would be friends with a socialist, you know? No, fuck. No, okay, that's the end. That's the end, it seems. Oh, finally, thank God. No more Riggin Shear of South Dakota fame. Was it Brooklyns, South Dakota? Brookings, South Dakota. No more of him. Thank fucking God. But I'm glad I read it. I am glad we did that because I am... It's interesting to see their deranged inner monologues they have sometimes openly. Oof. Do I have more energy? I don't know. Maybe. Let's mute that. See. Oh, yeah. I just farted. That's going to be my, what's his name? Quartering. I just pissed in my basement. Ooh. No, that's not what I thought it was. Never mind. Never mind. God, I'm really hungry as well. See ya. Yeah, I'm actually gonna quit it here. Thanks for sticking by through the entire article. That was a lot to read. But yeah, this is gonna be a video, that's for sure. This oh, okay. This Riggin Shear. That's gonna be a name embroidered in my brain. Okay, I'll see you guys next stream, which unfortunately is probably gonna be next week. I'm busy this weekend. My girlfriend is home. Maybe next week. We'll see. Probably next week. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.